that mocked up, so it's going to be able, at least it'll be able to hold it in there.
Helping to design every step the astronauts take is Christy Hansen, the spacewalking task lead for the Hubble servicing mission.
Well, this mission is very exciting because what we're doing on this flight is 5 back-to-back spacewalks. Typically on orbit, crews will maybe do 4 and they're not back-to-back. It's a very heavily packed mission. So, essentially, on any Hubble Space Telescope servicing mission, we're either going to fix broken science instruments on the telescope or we're going to upgrade them.
Leading the highly skilled team of spacewalkers is veteran Hubble astronaut John Grunsfeld. This is John's 3rd mission to the Hubble. Joining John for 3 of the spacewalks is rookie astronaut Drew Feustel. Another Hubble veteran, Mike Massimino, will be making his 2nd visit to the telescope. He'll be joined on 2 of the spacewalks by another first-time astronaut, Mike Good. On the first spacewalk, John and Drew will change out the wide field camera. This new camera is the highest science priority on the mission, and it's a big improvement over the old one. With the addition of infrared arrays, the camera will be able to look much farther into the distant universe and continue to provide the stunning images that Hubble's known for. It will take a little over 2 hours to swap cameras. One of the biggest challenges for the astronauts on this spacewalk is hand fatigue, from constantly fighting the pressures of their suits while gripping the cameras for such a long period of time. Near the end of the first spacewalk, they'll change out the batteries. This is the first time batteries have ever been replaced on the telescope, giving Hubble fresh new power cells. There are 2 modules that contain 3 batteries each. John will work on replacing one set, while Drew changes out the other. For the second spacewalk, the teams are switched. Mike Good is on the robotic arm, and Mike Massimino will be the free floater. They're changing out the 6 gyroscopes that help keep the telescope properly oriented in space. It's a challenging task because the doors they need to get into are unevenly shaped, and once inside, it's a tight fit.
You have a giant guy in a spacesuit jammed in this, they call it the astral, and he's not allowed to touch anything inside of the astral. None of the black multi-layer insulation, there's cabling and harnesses.
So who's that giant guy? Is that Mike Massimino?
That's Mike Massimino. He's one of our
giant guy.
Guys. Now, the most exciting parts of the missions will be spacewalks number 3 and 4.
You'll be sweating bullets the whole
time.
time,
I'm going to be sweating. I'll be on the edge of my seat looking ahead for failures.
Okay.
What we're going to do is we're going to perform a task that has never been done on orbit before. Okay. When we do spacewalks normally, everything is designed to be performed by an astronaut wearing big, beefy gloves, so the bolt sizes are nice and big, you fit a big, nice socket on it, and everything's captive, so when you release something, it doesn't float away. Well, we're getting into an instrument, the Space Telescope Imaging Spectrograph. We're getting into a card on the inside, kind of like your computer at home. If you pull the cover off, there's a little card in there. Okay. We have to pull that card out and put a new one in.
The Space Telescope Imaging Spectrograph stopped working on the Hubble in August of 2004 when a power supply failed. But before that happened, it was able to confirm for the first time the existence of a black hole in the center of a galaxy. The spectrograph can measure how fast a star or a planet is moving and what it's made of. To get to this critical piece of hardware, the astronauts will need to remove a cover that is held in place with lots of tiny screws.
111 non-captive screws.
And these critters aren't going to be floating around. You actually have to design a tool to make that happen.
And I can show you what that tool looks like down here on the
Love it. Let's see it.
This is called the Space Telescope Imaging Spectrograph Faster Capture Plate. And it's a beefy tool. It's pretty impressive. This whole thing we snap on to the front of the science instrument. Okay. So it's on top of the cover we have to remove. And if you look closely, it's a Lexan cover, and there are 111 holes in this. And what that allows us to do is to access the screws on the cover of the science instrument.
Now, these screws, are they Phillips head screws? Are they standard screws? Or what is it?
They're crazy screws. There's 3 different kinds, and most of them are torque set screws.
Torque set, those really funky bit.
Really funky bit. Okay. We have torque set, and everything is color-coded on the faster capture plate to help the astronaut and the ground team to communicate and not be confused. Okay. So the astronaut puts the red socket onto his mini power tool, sticks the socket or bit through each hole, releases the screw, and then the screws are all floating around inside the faster capture plate in the cover, so they won't be free inside the telescope, which would be bad.